What's going on, beautiful people? My name is Martin. I am also known as the Calisthenics Nomad. So as you can guess by that name, first part calisthenics. So one of the things I do is I help people get in the best shape of their life using primarily, though not exclusively, body weight exercise. And the second half of my name, Nomad, I also produce a lot of content based around remote working, traveling the world and living in different places, cost of living guides, things like that. So if either of those things interest you, please hit that subscribe button because there's more content on the way. But today's topic is the pros and cons of living in Madeira. So in case you're not familiar with Madeira, Madeira is a beautiful, beautiful island off the southern coast of Portugal. So geographically, it's actually closer to Morocco, but culturally it's Portuguese because it was settled by the Portuguese. And it is just amazing here. I've been here for 2 months now, and it's mostly pros. There's a few cons, but even the cons are kind of like mostly based on lifestyle preference. And I'll get into that in a second. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's start with the pros first. All right, the first pro is the weather. So as I said, I've been here for 2 months and there has not been one day, I mean literally not one day, where the weather hasn't been perfect. So even there's like sometimes there's days where it's a little bit cloudy, but even on those days it's never too cold. So you're always in this range of like never too hot, never too cold, and it's always like in here, which is just incredible because as we all know, the weather has such a big impact on our mood and just how you feel. Like even if other things are not going well, you wake up and it's a beautiful sunny day and it's not too hot, not too cold, you're gonna be in a good mood. So so the weather's huge. Another thing related to the weather is daylight hours. So right now it is past 8 p.m. at this point. I just heard the bell, the town bell that they ring on the hour every hour, up until midnight. I don't think they do it after midnight. Anyway, so it's past 8 o'clock, and as you can see, it's still daylight out. So the sun doesn't really go down here until probably around 9:15, and it gets like dark probably like 9:45, 10 p.m. every day. So that's really good, especially like for somebody like me. I'm a night owl. I don't like to get up too early in the morning. So even if I'm up late and I get up late, I still have a very long day full of daylight ahead of me, which I really appreciate. So that's another big plus. All right, pro number 2 is the landscapes and the nature. So I've been fortunate enough to visit a lot of places in the world, and I've seen some just amazing landscapes in different, continents and everything. But Madeira is very unique because you have the ocean because it's an island. So as you can see behind me, the ocean's right behind me. But then it's also an island that's built on like volcanic rock. And so you have these like crazy mountains right next to the ocean. So it's like, you have the ocean, and then literally right behind it is these giant mountains. And then depending on where you are on the island, some of those mountains will have like, valleys and peaks and crazy viewpoints. And they'll also be like these, like kind of like in Bali in Thailand and Vietnam and Southeast Asia, you have these like cascading rice fields. So here they have those cascading farms as well, but instead of rice, they have banana and sugarcane. So they have really good bananas here. And they also have a lot of sugarcane products like sugarcane honey and just different things made from sugarcane. So those are kind of like the 2 main things. So yeah, the nature's beautiful, and there's a lot of hikes to go on. So I went on a hike a couple days ago called the 25 Fountains, and they call it that because there's a lot of waterfalls along the way. I'll actually roll some of the footage from that hike so you can see how beautiful it was. And there was one section where it was like a double waterfall. So it was like this open, valley with this mountain, giant waterfall. Then inside of it, there was like a hole that shot down, and there was another waterfall inside of that. So it's kind of like back-to-back parallel waterfalls. It was sick. And then as you're walking, the whole island has these things called levadas. So the levadas they're man-made, and it took like 50 years to build them. There's something like over 300 of them on the island. And that's why it took 50 years to build them. And what they do is the northern part of the island has a lot of water and moisture, but the southern part of the island where I am and where most people like to live, because the weather's better, there's not as much moisture, there's not enough water. So they actually built these levadas to carry the water from the north part of the island through the mountains down into the southern part of the island. And it also provides hydroelectric power as well. So, but anyway, it's just beautiful, beautiful scenery and so many hikes to go on that I wish I could go on more of them, and maybe I'll be back. All right, number 3 is the people. So, not that I've been everywhere in Europe, and I'm mostly judging this by my own country. But no, I've been to other parts of Europe. Like I lived in the Netherlands for a while, so I've been to like different countries in Europe, and I spent time in Europe. But obviously, Europe it's big, and there's a lot of countries and cultures, so I can't completely stereotype. But Europeans are generally more reserved, especially compared to like, you know, Thailand or Japan, for example, where like they're super polite and super friendly. Like you're not really gonna get that in Europe, that level of friendliness. So given the general nature and demeanor of people in Europe, by that standard, Madeirans are really nice, just really, really nice people, and just like, you know, warm people. Yeah, they're still a little bit reserved, but they're very warm, and they really genuinely try to help you. Like when you need help with something, like they'll go out of their way to really help you. So I've only been here 2 months, but pretty much every Madeiran that I've met has just been extremely kind, really like great personality, warm-hearted. So Madeirans are great, great people. All right, number 4, guys. Number 4 is the cost of living. So the cost of living here is really reasonable. It's not going to be as, you know, of a good deal as Southeast Asia. Few places are. There are places in Europe that are comparable, like Bulgaria, Macedonia. So there's places in Europe you can go that have that Southeast Asia cost of living. This is not one of them, but it's still a good cost of living. Like, so to give you an idea, the apartment I'm in right now is in kind of like the hotel district. So it's like the more expensive area where people basically come here to take vacation. As I said, the ocean is right behind me. I have this giant balcony, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. I even have a massage chair in one of the bedrooms, excuse me. And it's just a really nice apartment. I wouldn't call it a luxury apartment, but it's definitely a nice apartment in a prime area with an ocean, almost pure oceanfront view. It's at an angle, but basically it's an oceanfront view. And I'm paying 700 euros a month for that. My internet is just shy of 60 euros a month. It's fiber optic. It's like 120 up, 80 down, and the ping is like 3 or something. So really good internet. The internet provider that's the most popular on the island, it's called MEO. So if you come here for long term and you need internet, MEO is the provider, and you can find them in the La Vie shopping center in downtown Funchal. So Funchal is the capital. I didn't say that. I'm in the capital of Madeira, which is called Funchal. What else? Meals, coffee. So I get an espresso is like between 70 cents to like €1.50, depending on where you go. Wines are really, really good. You can get amazing, like high quality bottles of wine between 3 and 6 euros, which would normally probably be like $30 in the States. Yeah, really good wine. If you go out to eat for like 2 people, you get a meal and maybe a drink each, you're paying between 20 to 35 euros, depending on, again, where you go. So again, that's not too bad. And you also don't have to leave like huge tips. In fact, they don't even expect it. Like if you leave a tip, you can, but you almost like don't have to. I do, but it doesn't have to be like a crazy tip. So that's another thing. Cost of living is good. Number 5. So number 5 is not something that I've personally taken advantage of, but it does exist here. If you're someone that really values being part of a community, or a younger person, you want to bond with other young people, go on adventures, things like this. There is a Madeira Fitness Friends, so it's like a workout group. They work out together. They have an Instagram page, everything like that. There's also a Madeira Digital Nomads group. A friend of mine who's also been living on the island, he just left, I think 2 days ago. He's in Lisbon now, so he was part of that group. They mostly hang out in Ponta del Sol, which is about a half an hour drive from here. Another beautiful, beautiful place on the island, Ponta del Sol. So they call that like the Nomad Village. So that's where all the digital nomads hang out. So if you want to tap into that, that is here as an option. All right, now that we covered all the clear pros, we're gonna slide into the cons. And the cons are kind of like, they're not, it depends. I'm gonna get into it. So we'll start with the first one, which is a genuine con if you're somebody who's a vegan. So I'm a pescatarian, but I do eat a lot of vegan like meals and plant-based meals. And there's just not a lot of vegan options here. Like there's one vegan restaurant on the island, or at least in Funchal, but I don't think there's any, judging from the other parts of the island that I went to, I don't think there's any other vegan restaurants besides Funchal. That one's called Mundo Vegan, which is like Vegan World. And they have really good food, but it's one restaurant. You know, after a while, you kind of want some variety. And sometimes when you go places, they'll have like a courtesy like vegetarian option, and once in a while they'll have a courtesy vegan option. But in general, what you'll find is when you go places, a lot of the time the wait staff, they don't even understand what vegan means. Like they think it just means vegetarian. So they'll genuinely like try to how can I say, accommodate you, but a lot of the time they actually fail because again they don't really understand what it means. So they'll be like, oh yeah, vegan, and they'll bring you a meal with like cheese on it, you know what I mean, or like eggs or something like that. So but God bless them, like they really try. Like you can tell, like I said, the Madeirans, they're very warm people. They try to help you. So but yeah, so if you're a vegan and you're not willing to cook for yourself and you just want to eat out, it can be a little tough and it can get a bit boring because there's not too many options. If you're not a vegan though, like it's great. The seafood is amazing. Like I said, I'm a pescatarian, so I've really enjoyed like the bacalhau, which is a Portuguese dish that you can find in other cultures that were colonized by Portugal, like Brazil, Cape Verde. They all have their own version of bacalhau. So I've been eating a lot, you know, a good amount of that, and it's really good. So so that's one thing to watch out for. If you're a vegan, it's not the greatest food options. All right, and the last two things are really, truly not even cons, but it's more just personal preference. So one of them is kind of the lifestyle. So it is an island, so everything is really laid back, which really appeals to me because I'm a super laid back person. But if you're like a type A, like I need to be there at 7 p.m. and if the person shows up at 7:01 p.m. I'm gonna go insane, this is not the place for you. Because it's definitely like a chill, like island vibe. Everything's like slow moving. No one's in a rush to get anywhere. So if you're that type of person, it's probably not going to be for you. But again, that's not really a true con. It's just a lifestyle preference. And it could be a pro if you're somebody like me. So, and the last one, again, not a true con, is the fact that it's an island. It's a little bit isolated. So although there is a lot to do here and a lot to see, it's still an island. So eventually you're going to see most of the stuff you want to see. And at that point, if you want to go anywhere else, you have to take a plane. Now, it's not that far from mainland Portugal. I think it's like an hour-and-a-half flight. But it's still, the point is, if you want to go anywhere, you basically have to take a plane. There's a few like short day trips you can take on a boat. Like there's another small island called Porto Santo, which I didn't get a chance to go to. And then one more island, which is not inhabited by people, but you can take day trips there to like look at the nature and stuff. It's called like, I think like Desertas Islands, Desertas, something like that. But yeah, basically you're isolated. So again, it's not a true con, but in a way it is. All right, and that is all, ladies and gentlemen. So again, Madeira is a beautiful place. I've been here 2 months. I'm leaving soon. I might come back. I probably will come back. It's a cool place. I went diving on Saturday, which I'd like to come back and do some more dives here. And there's just more things that I like to see. So I might be back. But again, the world's so big and I still want to see a lot more. So we'll see. Stay tuned. But if you haven't been here, I do recommend it. You don't have to come live here long term. But I do recommend coming out here, spending at least like, a month, 2-3 months just to enjoy it, because it is truly a beautiful place. All right, that's it. Signing off, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.